Beautiful, and I see people filing in. And Revkev, I always love to see your backgrounds. It reminds me of being able to see all the beautiful art in your house and everything when we did the interview with you. It was very nice.
Oh yeah, this is my office and I do the same thing at work.
And welcome everyone as you're coming in. We're just going to give it a couple of moments to allow folks to join. And as you can see, this is a recorded session, just so you know, but it will only be the faces of the speakers. So feel free to do what you like as far as keep your camera on or put it off. And thank you to folks that are in the chat, sharing their name, their pronouns, and where they're coming in from. Okay, Anchorage, love that. We got some Midwest folks. I'm in Michigan right now. California is where I will be back. Florida, all over. Okay, and we'll give it about one more minute and then start off. And sweet, I love to see the folks that are in the chat. Excited to celebrate Deb, me too, and all of our amazing volunteers. And again, for new folks coming in, as you see, there are people putting their name, their pronouns if they'd like, as well as the location that they're coming in from. And to start us off, I'll introduce myself as well. My name is Osha Towers. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm coming in from Michigan, which is where I grew up and was raised, but I now live in California, and I work as the LGBTQ engagement director for Compassion Choices. And I couldn't be more excited to have this event and this space with you all to really honor our volunteers across the board, and certainly highlighting the ones that we have as not only Allyne Hammer, but the recipients of the Allyne Hammer Award that I started last year. And you'll be able to hear more and learn more about her and our amazing volunteers that were honored in that way. And then overall, just the phenomenal work that you all and so many more have done in this movement. And as we move forward, as I said a little bit earlier, you'll see that we will be recording this day, but it's only my face and Revkev's. So if you're like, I look a mess right now, I do not want to have my face on a screen, don't worry about it. Totally understandable. You can sit back, relax in your comfy clothes, and just enjoy the presentation today. And with that being said, that means that we'll also be sending it out to you all afterwards, as well as with some information on that we've talked about on being a volunteer and a change maker in this movement and other ways to get involved or continue the involvement that you're already doing. So that's just a little bit about the goal of the event today and myself, but I'm really excited to hand it over to Reverend Kevin E. Taylor, who has and continues to be a tremendous volunteer for us through the work that he does for a vast sum of our communities, including our Black communities, our LGBTQ communities, our religious groups, all of our folks. And I'll let Rev Kev really take it away with hosting the rest of this day and talking with us about the tremendous work that he does and that you all do as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Osha. I'm really honored to be a part of this this work with that Compassion Choices does, and at so many levels. I am the actual D, E, and I of Compassion Choices. I am part of the African American charter and LGBTQ and faith-based. So when brought to the table to have this conversation with Compassionate Choices a few years ago, I was very delighted. But what I put in the chat when what I thought about is how empowered I finally felt to have these conversations with people about a conversation that can be very uncomfortable. But bravo and kudos to all of the ways that Compassionate Choices shows up in the communities in which we operate, in which the world moves around. I am a director of development and LGBTQ services at an agency in New Jersey, and a pastor, and a father and a grandfather. And so this conversation just really sparked some new dialogue in my church, in my family, and in my community. So thank you, Osha. Thank you, Zena. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you, Kim, our CEO, who we'll be hearing from later. I'd like to invite you to get started by sharing in the chat what brings you to this movement, what ignites your passion for volunteering for Compassionate Choices, or inspires you to want to get involved. I'm going to drop mine so that people don't feel alone. My ability, the ability to empower people to take control of the conversation about their lives and wishes without shame or fear. That's why I'm here. Why are you here? What empowers you to be here this sunny, hopefully where you are, Thursday afternoon, having this wonderful holding space with one another in this wonderful day? What inspires you? What brings you here? From Florida and Minneapolis and Los Angeles. Karina says, just learning more about it. Brihan says, I want others to be aware of options and resources. Yes. Carolyn says, everyone deserves bodily autonomy. And Wasira, please forgive me if I mispronounce it, Wasira, to honor my father. Karen says to celebrate the work of my friend and to learn more. Seth says disability rights includes the right to choose end-of-life options. So just, there's so many diverse, multifaceted reasons for being here, but all towards the capacity to do more. Maureen says she wishes to empower people regarding end-of-life decisions. So I think it's impactful and important that we read these. Oh, Gail says, I'm a death doula. So it is imperative to me that the dying need everything we can do to support their journey. Absolutely. So thank you for each and all of you for the ways that you have engaged in this rich conversation and for holding space. Susie says, I advocate for my son, Andrew Flack. Andrew used medical aid and dying after a 5-year battle with cancer. His death was peaceful and he was surrounded by his loved ones. And Diane says, stage 4 pancreatic cancer diagnosis. I want options at the end of life. So we are a circle of love, holding love and space with and for each other, and I'm grateful to be able to do so. So if you see me as new ones come in, I just think it's rich and empowering that they be said aloud so that everyone can hear them. Mark says to empower people to create a legacy that reflects their values and celebrates their life. Boom. I like that one. Indeed, indeed. Oh, and Carolyn, I don't know if you saw this, Susie was in Andrew's class. So that's a beautiful thing. Mary Kay says that I'm an end-of-life doula who sits at bedsides with folk with MAID, medical aid in dying. Wonderful. So forgive me if I jump back over there because I think it's just rich and powerful to read these wonderful examples of how we're lifting, loving, supporting, and holding space with one another. We're also here to honor volunteers. So here are some amazing examples of names people shared before the event of volunteers that inspire them. Read those names. So Daryl Block, Deb Robertson, Thad Myra, Brian McCurdy, Diane Zonarks, Wilfred Amaziel, Mary Schreiber, Carrie Framstead, George Doldrell, and Susan I'm going to say Silas. So Susan, and to all of you, from Daryl to Susan, thank you for all you do. And Daryl added in the chat, trying to expand access in Montana. His wife was able to utilize MAID. So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you to everyone in the chat and to everyone who has sent this beautiful list of volunteers. And as we thank those people for their impact. Compassion and Choices is powered by our supporters, volunteers, donors, and every person who takes action to advance the end-of-life advocacy movement. That includes, watch these numbers, 576,383 supporters and 7,249 volunteers across the country, along with 85,083 active donors. And again, these magnanimous numbers, and 540,942 taking action online. This is a tremendous amount of support and dedication throughout this nation. We all are the foundation of this organization and crucial to its work. So bravo to each and every one of you. Even if you've just come in for the first time and are learning, now you're active and activated. And for that, we are grateful. We are extraordinarily thankful. We want to start off honoring the life of our rainbow and fierce supporter, Allyne Hammer. Did I say it right? Allyne Hammer. An advocate her whole life and a force to be reckoned with. She led the Santa Cruz Action Team, was a member of our National LGBTQ Leadership Council, and a Compassion Choices storyteller. Early last year, Allyne passed away peacefully in her sleep. Allyne was heavily influenced by the AIDS epidemic, experiencing the loss of her friends after watching them suffer at the end of life. She would often say that during that time, we used to say it was a nightmare that we couldn't wake up from. At that point, she realized that she had not given much thought to her own death. Her outlook on life was changed, and she made it a point to never let anything go unsaid and never leave anything undone, because life is fragile. Allyne found peace in working to get medical aid in dying laws passed in honor and memory of all those who suffered during the AIDS epidemic. She was grateful for Compassion and Choices work across the country, getting medical aid in dying laws passed, sharing that this is something I thought I'd never see become legal in my lifetime. But due to the efforts of Compassion and Choices, look where we are now. I'm proud to be a part of such a great organization doing such important work. At the age of 67, she was diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma, an incurable blood cancer, and a brain tumor. She sought medical treatment, however, chose to do chemotherapy and was part of a clinical trial study where she experienced severe side effects. She then advocated for herself and later was able to find a healthcare team that would honor her end-of-life wishes. Allyne became even more passionate in voicing her support for end-of-life options for everyone. She was key in helping pass the End-of-Life Option Act in California in 2015, as well as the Improvement Bill, SB 380, in 2021. Last year, Senator John Laird passed a resolution in her honor for all of her advocacy work over the years. Here is a clip of Allyne discussing how she is inspired by those coming next in the movement. And as we said, Allyne had been battling various ailments in her physical body, but her spirit was strong. We know that this clip might not be as clear as my voice or some of the other voices you will hear today, but that we have her voice recorded for perpetuity in posterity to show us a tangible and tactile example of her fight and her fire is why we wanted to share this clip.
Thank you, Rev Kevin. Just give me one moment to play Alina's clip for you all.
It just makes me so happy that this is happening and where we are and that you're all out, and don't take it for granted, appreciate where you are and what you're doing, and we're grateful to you, and it helps you understand, it helps to know that I have people coming up behind me that are doing the work. so that when it's time for me to die, I'm like going, I know that because the struggle continues. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
She said, no matter where you are or what you're doing, she's thankful to know that there's a movement coming behind her to keep the work going. So Allyne will be missed, but we are thankful for those who allow her efforts to continue on. And that includes many of you. Now, we're proud to honor some of our volunteers. We're proud to announce that the 2024 Allyne Hammer Excellence in Advocacy Award recipient is Deb Robertson, our sunflower. She is an Illinois advocate who has dedicated countless hours to this movement, pushing the passage of medical aid in dying and being an educator for individuals as they work to be advocates for their own care. This video is from a family-style award ceremony and dinner we held for Deb.
Beautiful. I'm so glad that you all were able to come together just to spend some time. And it's also been nice getting to know you all and hearing all these beautiful stories about how much Deb means to each of you. I work at Compassion Choices. I oversee the LGBTQ work. And we had an amazing advocate, Allyne Hammer, who passed away just last February. She was just tremendous in the work that she dedicated towards the end-of-life movement, and also was a fierce, passionate individual who did a variety of different things in the same way that Deb does. So this year, when I sent out a call to all of staff saying, hey, who do we feel like really embodies that energy of Allyne? Who's given so much to this movement, and not just to all of the legislative work and to all the different people that they come across off in the field, but also to our staff. Whose story has really touched your heart? And I kid you not, this easy. Absolutely easy, because everyone was so clear that Deb, you embody that energy and you have given so much.
Deb, you have a way of getting right to it, speaking to the heart. And I have to say, for legislators, it's so important. You really speak to the heart by sharing your story, by your passion, by being so clear about what medical aid in dying is and isn't. Your courage is the thing that I really walk away with. Your courage facing this terrible illness that just makes me so mad, but not wasting your time. Working just tirelessly to get medical aid in dying for terminally ill Illinoisans, and that is going to help others all over the country when we do this. And I think all of the staff, one of the things that we appreciate so much is you inspire us. You inspire us, you feed our soul, and you have also really affected me personally. Your work on the support group, educating, you're a true educator around neuroendocrine cancer, has made such a difference in so many people's lives, but personally in my life, because of my beloved cousin, I think you helped, honestly, to save Karen's life. And that helped to save my life. So I'm really grateful to you for that. You know that. We love you. We love you.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Thank you, Amy.
So here I bestow upon you the Allyne Hammer Excellence in Advocacy Award. Here you go.
Oh, thank you. This has been a journey for me, but I just remember Compassion Choices called me when I was climbing Starved Rock. It was from that point on the relationship with Compassion Choices and my need and desire to be a part of educating and teaching people about medical aid in dying, so that they weren't afraid of it, so that they understood it, and they could believe in the belief of respecting people's choices. And I think that that's the important thing for people to understand, is that I don't expect everyone on earth or everyone in Illinois to support medical aid and dying, because that's unrealistic. But to listen to those that are needing it and wanting it. As I've said to people before, I didn't choose to get this diagnosis. I'm fighting it to the nth of my life, and I've already accepted the fact that I might not be here when this goes through in Illinois. Because I believe that it will, and it needs to. And then Ms. Hammer, who was an advocate beyond belief, it's an honor for me to be honored with this, because she was a warrior, and I want to be the warrior after her, and there's going to be another warrior after me, and that's the way it's going to work, and that's what's going to make this happen.
We call her the warrior.
The warrior. I think that's
Yeah.
right. It's medical aid and dying. It's not about rights, in my opinion. It is, but I think it's about values and
Respect.
beliefs, respect, and love.
When Deb met with the Associated Press last week, the woman had asked her a question, and Deb looked at her and said, I respect your choice to choose if this is right for you or not. So please respect mine. And it was like, wow, that's it in a nutshell.
Right.
I'm not telling you what to choose. I'm respecting your choice. But please respect my choice too.
That's that.
Well, congratulations again to Deb Robertson, the 2024 Allyne Hammer Excellence in Advocacy Award winner. Throw up your hands, throw up some reactions, throw up some love in the chat. And just so that these can be admitted aloud, I want to read what Gina says. She says, congratulations, Deb. Admire your strength, dedication, and passion amidst all you're going through. You are an amazing woman. Thankful and honored to know you. And in light of the powerful and purposeful words of Allyne that said, never leave a thing unsaid, I didn't want to leave that sitting in the chat, hoping that Deb hears it. So no matter where she is, she will hear those words aloud. So yeah. Congratulations, and thank you to Deb for being an incredible warrior by giving so much of herself to this movement and shaping the lives of everyone she comes across. I also hear that she's known around CNC for her amazing style and beautiful, colorful jumpsuits. Yay. Let's keep it moving. Our volunteers make our work possible, from everyone on this call to those who are no longer with us, like Thomas Reed Jackson, a compassionate choice advocate. This video shares Thomas's reasons for advocating for everyone to plan ahead for their healthcare wishes.
We have to change the paradigm. We have to change our way of thinking, and we have to adopt the idea of a legacy. I've lived my life very carefree. I joke about, well, sisters, good luck when I die, because the way I've chosen my career opportunity, I didn't become a massage therapist until 7 years ago. I'm 55 years old. I'm not the guy who has had a 401k that he got at his first job, that he passed from job to job to job. My 401k, when I cashed it out, I went to Bali. I would love to tell you stories about my uncles, too. They showed early on that we can leave this earth with wills and not bills. And it took me years, but I started to realize to get to that point, you have to be comfortable with your current. And that's when I started to realize, wait a minute. So yeah, I'm at a point now where it's like, you've had your fun, get it together. Planning equals peace.
So Osha, you don't know this. I know Tommy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I've known Tommy since we were in our 20s in Washington, D.C. And to know all the ways that Compassionate Choices is bringing my world back to me. It was one of my former producer associates at BET that brought me in. And now to see Angel Tommy in this conversation is really swelling to my soul. Legacy, something we will all leave behind in one another. in one way or another. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Tommy, for giving his family and his community the gift of his planning. Just a moment. And we're back. Woo! One of last year's amazing
We have to
recipients
change.
of the Allyne Hammer Award was Doris Fisher, a Montana advocate for medical aid in dying, who has participated in Compassionate Choices volunteer efforts for many years. Let's see Dorothy share her testimony and the story of her husband in front of the Montana State Legislature.
Please vote no on Senate Bill 116.
Thank you. Next opponent, please.
Chairman Murphy, members of the committee, my name is Doris Fisher, Fischer. I live in Sheridan, Montana. And I'd like to take a moment to tell you about Richard, who was the love of my life. Richard died of ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. Despite great hospice care, he suffered from the disease and often felt like he was suffocating. Richard believed that adults have the responsibility to make their own decisions. He faced his terminal illness with courage and wanted to die with dignity as he had lived his life. Richard could have had great peace of mind and comfort if he had the choice of a peaceful and dignified death. He didn't get that choice, as he died before the Supreme Court ruling on the Baxter case. But now, we adults in Montana do have that choice. And on Richard's behalf, and on behalf of all terminally ill adults in Montana, I urge you not to take that choice away. Please vote against SB 116, and please vote for SB 167. Thank you.
Given the tireless work of Doris and so many others, this medical option was passed in 2009 and remains today. Rosalind Kipping was also honored alongside Doris with the Allyne Hammer Award last year. Rosalind was a dedicated volunteer in Maryland and friend to those at this organization. She influenced education and advocacy efforts all the way until her final moments. Rosalind passed away last year, but her efforts are still felt today. Wendy Miner from Compassionate Choices shares the impact that she saw Rosalind having on this work.
Thank you for having me here this evening. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Rosalind Kipping. Rosalind worked tirelessly in many different roles, ranging from chapter leader to advocate in her home state of Maryland. She was a fervent advocate for bodily autonomy and the right to make informed choices about end-of-life care for decades. She served as president and vice president of the Washington area chapter of Compassionate Choices. Rosalind also established a recognized Compassionate Choices group at Leisure World Retirement Community in Silver Spring, Maryland. She organized hundreds of events and exhibits. Her dedication has been instrumental in raising awareness about advanced planning and end-of-life options within the community. Something that impressed me about Rosalind was that she was dedicated right up until the end. She called me and asked me to come up and pick up Compassionate Choices materials. And she wanted me to make sure that the other volunteers would continue to work to advocate for end-of-life options and to make sure that we would continue to work to inform the community about advanced planning. She always kept a sense of humor. She was the first to stand up and start talking at events. She wanted everyone to know what we were there for and our mission, And when I say Rosalind was the first to stand up, that meant we had to stand up. She would turn around and say, okay, everybody come on. And we started handing out the fact sheets and handing out our information. So we would say that Rosalind was the boss. Rosalind was my hero to me because she was fierce. I saw this quote in Shakespeare, and I wanted to read it to you. It says, though she be but little, she is fierce. And Rosalind, I believe, was not even 5 feet. And as I was thinking about the quote from Shakespeare, I just wanted to take this time to read what a fierce woman is. And I got this. I borrowed the definition from Google. It says a fierce woman is fierce in belief, in joy, in compassion, in commitment, intelligence, in wit, and in community. She's capable of not only finding her own way, but creating a path for others. She doesn't just break down doors, she tears down walls. And that to me was Rosalind. Rosalind, may you rest in peace.
Thank you to Rosalind Kipping for being the boss and a hero to this movement. Now, here's a quick overview of 3 important resources to our work. Starting
really
with
quick,
Hmm?
Oh, I'm so sorry to cut you off for you got such a good momentum going. I just
I
wanted
can
to
get it
pause.
back.
Okay. I just wanted to pause for one moment, because even seeing you have this moment of reflecting on your relationship with Tommy and then watching Wendy just talk about Rosalind, I think it's just such a good reminder about the beauty that all these people have been able to give so much to each of us, and that I am so thankful for all of you for just being here and listening to these stories, because I know that in some way these are people that you also love and may have lost, and are just so inspired by. So I understand if folks are needing a moment to pause or take a break away, but I do hope that as we're watching all of this, it continues to just ignite you with feeling so fueled up for the amazing work that each of these individuals has given to the movement, because absolutely it was beautiful to be able to see Rosalind during her final days be like, we gotta keep it going. Like, I want to make sure that everything's in order because this meant so much to me. And to see Deb and meet her entire family that's so invested in this movement and taking care of her and knowing that they're a part of carrying this on, and to see Tommy be loved up on and love up on his community and talk about how he knows that this is so much bigger than him, and also bringing it back to himself, because I think that that's one of the things that we as people that are so big on being doers and giving all of our energy into this movement sometimes forget, is to just pause and take care of ourselves. So thank you all for being here and sitting with this presentation, and sharing your beautiful words in the chat too. Thank you, Revka.
No, absolutely. So thank you for creating space for not holding on to the story. So the last time I saw Tommy alive, we were at our National Holy Convocation in Los Angeles. I am part of Unity Fellowship Church movement founded by the Archbishop Carl Bean. And Carl Bean, again, dances in the multiplicities of community that we are, because Carl Bean was our Archbishop, and he's also the Motown recording artist who wrote and recorded Happy, Carefree, Gay, I Was Born This Way, which inspired Lady Gaga's Born This Way album that went diamond. And so we were at this gathering of all the churches across the country, and on a Saturday morning, we were having baptismal in a community pool at a recreation center where people were prepared for it. So they came in their robes or their t-shirts and jeans so they could get in the pool, get baptized, get out, dry off. Tommy was there as a spectator, and something moved him. After all of those who had signed up as candidates were baptized, we asked if there were others, and Tommy got in the pool fully clothed to be baptized. So it sits really light and bright with my soul to see this, that seemed to spark a fire for the way he moved forward with the rest of his legacy, right? Making sure that nothing was left unsaid, nothing was left undone. even that, like just in that moment, he's like, I might not have this moment again. And I remember what he had on as clearly as I could see you and Kim right now. So thank you for allowing me to not walk past that. My therapist called me on that the other day, having a moment where I choked up and then I swallowed it. So
Thanks for sharing that, Revka. I
for
appreciate you.
Tommy, for Alina, for Rosalind, for Doris, for the movement. Thank you. Whew. So as I was saying, now here's a quick
you for
overview
having
of
me
3
here.
important resources to our work, starting with the End of Life Decisions Guide and Toolkit, which is our most popular resource. And it includes a guide to advanced care planning and resources to get started on your end of life journey. And the End of Life Consultation Program provides resources for navigating end of life care and options. And the Patient Guide to Personal Advocacy provides individuals a tool to advocate for themselves in healthcare settings, including with healthcare systems, in order to get the end of life care that they want. So continue to stay updated, not only through our emails and newsletters, but across social media, Compassionate Choices. So here we are at X, formerly Twitter's Comp and Choices, and our CEO, Kim Callinan, is there as well. YouTube is Compassion Choices, Facebook, Compassion and Choices, Instagram, Compassion and Choices, so that you are always connected. So you can always tap into the resources that you need to get what you need. And of course, this work is powered by our advocacy, education, and funds when you can get them. So thank you to all of our amazing donors.
Yes, and thank you so much to Revka for helping us hold this space with everyone. Also, Kim, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know that you were leading a Twitter until we were making this presentation, so I'm gonna have to check that out. That's very cool.
So I should clarify, I used to
Okay.
do Twitter and I got a little bit upset with what was happening, and so I don't actually tweet anymore. So we should take those off the slides. But I am on LinkedIn, and you can follow me on LinkedIn, and I find that to be a much more sane platform.
Civilized.
Yeah, it's a much more
Yeah.
civilized platform. So please follow me on LinkedIn, and we have to tell folks to take that down. People were
Okay.
really mean on that Twitter. I got death threats. Like I just, you
Isn't
know,
that crazy? You
those
got
were not
death
my
threats.
people.
You got
Yeah,
death
no,
threats.
not our people. Okay.
Yeah. So I just wanted to, so first of all, Kim Callinan, for those who don't know me, I go with she, her pronouns. And I saw that we were doing this webinar and kind of weaseled my way in because I felt like I just wanted to truly express my gratitude. And I've known most of the people that were featured today. Alina was near and dear to my heart. She was a storyteller that came forward actually first for our Truth in Treatment campaign. And we had so many amazing exchanges. And I remember when I first read Deb's story, she and I had an exchange where she talked about how she didn't expect that we would get medical aid in dying in her lifetime, but that she wanted to do this for those that came after her. Now, I hope she's wrong about that, and I'm glad she's hung in there because that was a few years ago, and we do have a shot at it. But what strikes me about being a part of this movement is that across all of our volunteers, and our supporters, we share a common set of values that is about compassion and love and courage. And it's like the special sauce. That's what makes up Compassion and Choices. And it's what has allowed us, I think, to make the kind of progress that we're making at times when very few issues are moving forward. It's also what allows us to work on an issue that is so difficult and challenging, but it allows us to propel forward because of those common shared set of values. And it's what brings together really diverse perspectives with people from all walks of life and all different perspectives, and allows us to come together. And it is such a privilege to get to be a part of this movement that I wanted to come and recognize the people and all of you. So we took time today to recognize Alina and, a couple of the amazing people in this movement, and I don't want to minimize their contributions because they're phenomenal and inspiring, and it's what moves us forward. But they are really a demonstration of each and every one of you. They are representative of each and every one of you. They are, you all are our heroes. You all are inspiring. For you to take time out of your day to participate in this is a demonstration of who you are as a person. And I wish there was a way that we could recognize all of you and get everybody to see the power that happens when we all come together. So some people have the time and the capacity, and we are their legacy, like we are for Deb and we were for Alina, where, I mean, they are working day in and day out on this, and we need those people, and we are so grateful. Other people are, attending one conference call, or they're sending one email, or they drop in and they drop back out. And those contributions, when you accumulate them together, are equally important, or are extremely important and extremely meaningful. So I wanted everybody on this call to feel the sense of gratitude that we have for you and your contributions. And I wanted to be sure that you feel appreciated and respected and heard within this movement, because it is the accumulation of a number of small acts. That is, I think it's a famous Margaret Mead quote that I'm unfortunately butchering, but it is the accumulation of a number of small acts that is ultimately what creates social change. So thank you to every one of you that is on this call for being the inspiration for this movement. And I know for the staff, on a regular basis, we lose people that we love, like Alina, and like, so many, like Roz Kipling and so many other people. But what keeps us going is knowing that what we are doing is carrying on their legacy, and that is our commitment to them. And so just know that you are a part of carrying on their legacy. And if you want to be a part of creating a legacy where this movement is your legacy, there are lots of ways that you can get involved. And we are so glad that you are here. So thank you to everybody for joining us today.
Thank you, Kim. And Amy just sealed it up in 4 words in the chat. Volunteers make change happen. Boom. So each of you are heroes and warriors to this movement. You've seen some stories, but you're all heroes. So share your story. Follow us on social media. Follow Kim on LinkedIn, where the civilized people go, so that we can begin to engage in new ways. There's so many ways that you can contribute to this work. We've shared some today. Hopefully you pulled some of the information, and you can pass it on in great ways in your community, and in small ways, as Tommy showed us, in your own family. Because that was how Osha and Zena and I started talking. Like, for some communities, it's a difficult conversation. But when you say stuff like you should have wills, not bills, it filled the church for me. So people just get it. And last, but absolutely not least, there is always work to be done. But rest is part of the gift that you can give yourself. So this task is finished. If you thought we were going to go until the top of the hour, we give you back 15 minutes to breathe and go outside and walk around the block, or sip some tea, or just sit silently. And we thank you for who you are, as you are, because volunteers make change happen. You're going to patent that, Amy. That was great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.